Hey, what's up, folks? This is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, the channel that always has your back and tells it like it is. Well, today's video is going to be all about the big news that just dropped the other day concerning the launch of the BTTC, this is BitTorrent chain, and the redenomination plan for the token. So a lot of people have been talking about this, especially on CT. I figured I'd throw my hat in here and give you my 2 cents on what I think of this whole thing. Kind of where the project's at. Well, I'll give you some final thoughts on it as well. So a big update in this video, basically all about BTT, the BitTorrent chain, and that redenomination of the supply, which by all accounts is going to increase 1,000-fold. So pretty big deal, right? Why they're doing it, we need to talk about that in today's video, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing, okay? So, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to hit the like button. If this is your first time to the channel, make sure to subscribe. And if you click the bell, you'll be made aware whenever I post time-sensitive content just like this. And now, let's get it going. So in a little less than 1 week from now, the BitTorrent chain will be launching its mainnet, and this is a really big deal, okay? Now, here's why. So number one, the heterogeneous cross-chain interoperability between Ethereum. It has full Ethereum virtual machine compatibility, TRON, as well as the Binance Smart Chain, with more chains to be added into the future. Number two, it also adopts proof of stake to BTT, which is a great thing, right? Everybody likes proof of stake. You can earn those staking rewards. And number three, it lastly leverages sidechains for scaling smart contracts. Now, the really big change here that's somewhat receiving mixed emotions on CT, but the chart, on the other hand, is loving it, is that they're planning on a redenomination of the total supply of BTT and increasing it by 1,000%, all right? So the 1 to 1,000, which will essentially increase the total supply of tokens from 990 billion to 990 trillion, all right? All the while maintaining the same market cap. So, there are multiple reasons for the redenomination. Number one is to upgrade the token from a TRC10 to a TRC20 token. So bear in mind that the Binance Smart Chain did this exact same thing. They had to upgrade the token to move to the Binance Smart Chain. Well, guess what? BTT has to upgrade the token to move to the BitTorrent chain, okay? Number two, they also think the current supply has limitations. So they cite an example where miners receive rewards with multiple decimal places, and in the example it was 0.00231 a reward for BTT, and they don't really like that going way back like that, right? So it seems that they basically want to clean that up so that when it goes to proof of stake, the rewards are cleaner or less fractional, essentially. And they think the new supply will be more convenient for the subsequent collection of assets and exchange of tokens. And they also say that the new BTTC ecosystem will be more diversified with expanded use cases. So that could also be a reason for increasing the supply, okay? Now, the new token after the swap has occurred will no longer be a TRC10 token, as I mentioned earlier, but it will be upgraded to TRC20 and will be named BTT. As for the old token, it will be named BTT Old. I love the naming convention with all of his stuff. For example, you know, obviously his name's Justin's son. He's got one token for Just, one token for Son. He's got one for Win. Anyway, that's kind of funny. Side note. So now the new token will be used in the BTTC ecosystem for becoming a validator on the network, staking on BTTC to earn rewards, participating in governance, and paying for gas fees on the BTTC, okay? Now, exchanges, wallets, developers, and other partners are essentially advised to swap their tokens within 30 days from the launch on December 12th. So you've got from December 12th through January 12th to swap the tokens. Now, if you're holding your coins in a centralized exchange, most likely they will do it themselves. I personally hold mine through Voyager. I would imagine Voyager would be automatically doing this, and I'd probably have to do nothing. On the other hand, if you're not holding them on a centralized exchange, you're holding them on somewhere like Trust Wallet, it's possible you may have to manually do this, okay? Now, further information will be coming out on that, I'm sure, as we get closer to December 12th and as we pass the 12th, all right? So, what is Justin Sun saying? So, per this tweet, he's thrilled to announce that the BTTC mainnet is coming and that the redenomination plan will be launched December 12th with it, all right? Now, he also mentions that with the launch of the BTTC, the BTT ecosystem will be more diversified with expanded use cases. It is therefore necessary to redenominate BTT. It's a bit of a tongue twister. So, what are my thoughts on this, right? Well, number one is that any concerns of devaluation really don't make a whole lot of sense here because when your BTT is swapped, it will give you whatever you're currently holding in BTT times 1,000 back. So you'll simply have the exact same value that you held before with more tokens. So that really doesn't devalue it in my view, all right? Number two, this also shouldn't really be a surprise because Justin Sun has taken many of his tokens on his other projects and he's had high supplies, right? So my personal view is that he must fundamentally think that it's better to have more supply because it gives more options to work with, right? That's kind of it. I do not see this as a cash grab, as some people are talking about, like on CT, like, oh, why is he doing that? He's going the polar opposite direction of all the other projects that are having burn events, right? Well, we're not saying they couldn't do burn events in the future. They could. What he's really doing is just giving them more options, okay? So, and I don't really see it as a cash grab, mainly because he's already stupid rich, right? As evidenced by, remember that he'll do just about anything for publicity. I get it, okay? And with this, you know, he had a meal with Warren Buffett. He bought potentially the worst NFT of all time, an Ethereum rock. And number three, just the other day, he even bought 50 Bitcoin responding to a post by the president of El Salvador, okay? So he's known to do these things. So he's got plenty of money. So I really don't see it as he's just increasing the tokens for a cash grab. I don't buy that, all right? Now, number three, as I mentioned in my last video on BitTorrent, I think he's doing this to remain competitive, number one, okay? So he's got to be competitive with all the other ecosystems, and frankly, he doesn't need to be the best. Really, he just needs to be competitive in Asia, right? That's where he's based. That's where they're headquartered is over there. So his competitors, you know, are basically the Binance Smart Chain, Nervos, Zilliqa, etc., and any of those Asia-based projects. So that's kind of who he needs to be competitive with, right? Now, number four, ultimately, I think this is a good thing because it's another marketing headline, right? We know he loves those. And number five, it's also a sign of progress in developing the ecosystem, okay? So those are good. Now, personally, I have been buying BTT since my last video that I put out on it, on how to become a millionaire with BTT, right? Because we all knew that this BTTC was coming around the corner within a month or so. So depending on what you invested, well, you might do pretty well with that, right? Now, if we insert the trading view chart here, you can see that number one, the market has positively responded to the news obvious in the green candles. We also had a nice pickup in volume. You can see that little volume spike there. Zoomed out on this, we're going to need a lot more volume than that, but that's a good start, all right? Number three, We also got a turnaround of the RSI. That's a good thing. And lastly, the market cipher recorded a green dot there. So that's another good thing, okay? So for some final thoughts here. So I think this was a big update, a really big announcement. Obviously it does kind of get mixed reviews on the redenomination of adding to the supply. That's really kind of not common in the world of crypto where projects add to supply. In this case, though, he's saying that we want this to be like a top 10 ecosystem. Therefore, we think we may need some more coins. I get it, all right? Now, does that personally affect any of us who are holding BTT? No, it doesn't. All it means is whatever you're holding, you're going to end up timesing it by 1,000. You have more coins for the same value, okay? So I don't see any value loss there. I just see him trying to pivot with the market and trying to remain relevant. Because you got to remember, over the last couple months, which projects have been moving? Solana, been going big. Polkadot's been stepping up big. Obviously the Binance Smart Chain's still doing very well. Ethereum is still doing very well. So he's got to remain in that conversation. In order to do that, he has to be competitive and he has to make moves like this. And he needs to be able to market it and make headlines, right? So these are some headlines that are coming with this project. And, personally, I don't really have any problem with it. Sometimes he kind of irritates people because, like I said, he buys like everything just for a marketing headline, like that ridiculous Ethereum Rock NFT. But at the same time, he did it. Everyone's talking about him. Everyone starts talking about BTT, etc. And he knew that BTT was his best brand, BitTorrent, right? This is his #1 brand. So that's why he's pivoting this one to be the BitTorrent chain. So it all really makes sense to me in terms of what the future holds for it. I'm really looking forward to the staking rewards. I think that's going to be totally awesome. Definitely looking forward to that part. As I mentioned earlier, I bought mine on Voyager, and I do have referral links in the video description. Voyager's in there as well as other platforms. If you follow any of those links, you can get some free money sign-up bonus. You also help support the channel, so big thanks there. But BTT is available elsewhere also. You can find it all over the place. So it's readily available, and I think there's some good potential here in terms of the future with what it has to offer. So I'm kind of interested to see where it goes from here, right? So the bottom line is that good news, the market responded positively. CT responded with a huh? and I think it just warranted a little more talking through. But the bottom line is we're not devaluing anything. We're just increasing the token supply. Could they reduce it in the future? Yes. That's something that I do like to mention is sometimes people get real set in their ways, especially when talking about crypto, that, oh, it's set that way, or oh, it's always this way. No, it's not. They simply change. Projects change. They pivot, they go in a different direction. Ethereum's done that recently. Well, now it's their turn to do it. So the bottom line here, great news, and we'll see where it goes into the future. Like I said, I've been buying it since my last video. I'll probably continue to buy it. I've liked where it's at in the chart. It really hasn't been doing anything at all, which is a great time to be picking it up, basically. All right, so that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure to hit the like button. Don't forget that I'm also on Twitter at KIR Finance, where you can find me tweeting and retweeting on a regular basis. Check me out there. I've also now got a merch shop at, I think it's kierfinance.myspreadshop.com. I've got all kinds of designs in there, stuff from the channel, as well as my NFT series, the LDC skulls, which are way cooler than an Ethereum rock. And then outside of that, for a friendly reminder, this is Jesse with Keeping It Real Finance, the channel that always has your back, tells it like it is, and I will see you on the next one. Later.